Hello and welcome to Crouton Cracker Jacks. Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own au gratin potatoes right at home from scratch. Forget the box stuff, this homemade stuff is far superior. It is so delicious and it's so easy you can make it any time of year. But this is especially great for a Thanksgiving side dish. For this recipe you're going to need 4 to 5 inch russet potatoes, 2 1/4 cups of milk, 1 1/2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese, some ham pieces, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, half of a yellow onion, and 4 tablespoons of butter, and of course salt and pepper. I'm going to start off chopping up my onion. I'm using a yellow onion because that's what I like. You could use a white onion as well. I'm just going to slice through that sideways and then straight down and then across into a fine chop. And then I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side until we need it later for our sauce. I'm also going to chop up my ham pieces. Now these are trimmings off of spiral sliced hams. You can get these pretty much anywhere that they sell spiral sliced ham, and it's super cheap. It's only like $2 a pound for these trimmings, and since you're going to be chopping these up anyway, you might as well save a couple dollars and go this route. So I'm just going to chop these up into a fine chop as well, and if there's any gristle or fat on there, go ahead and cut it off because nobody wants to eat that. And then finally we need to prep our potatoes. These are russet potatoes here. I'm sure you could use any kind of potato if you wanted to, but I went ahead and peeled these. You do not have to peel yours if you don't want to. Just for looks reasons, I decided to peel mine. And using a knife, I'm going to slice this into about 1/16 inch slices. You want your slices all to be relatively the same thickness. And if you have a mandoline slicer, by all means, go ahead and use it. Not everyone has one, so a knife works just as well, and that is what I'm using here, obviously, as you can see. And once you get one potato sliced, go ahead and separate the slices into a large bowl of cool water, and that will prevent all of your potato slices from oxidizing. And then go ahead and continue slicing the rest of your potatoes. Next, I brought up a large pot of water to a boil on the stovetop, and I went ahead and drained my potato slices, and I'm going to add these to the boiling water. And I'm going to parboil my potato slices for 3 minutes. Now what this does is it's going to prevent any of your potatoes from undercooking in the process. It also will take half an hour off of your final baking time. So just take 3 minutes and do it. Nobody likes crunchy potatoes in their homemade au gratins, which is a fairly common problem. So just go ahead and do this parboiling process. And when they are done and that 3 minutes is up, go ahead and drain them and run them under cold water to stop the cooking process. And then set them off to the side and we can start working on the sauce. Now for the sauce, I went ahead and melted my 4 tablespoons of butter in a medium saucepan over medium-high heat. I'm going to add in my yellow onions here, and I'm going to cook these for about a minute or so. You just want to soften them up a little bit. You don't have to saute them or anything or fully cook them. They will get fully cooked when it bakes later on. But you just want to soften them up a little bit, kind of take that raw onion bite out. And then you want to add in your flour. This is all-purpose flour, also known as plain flour. And you want to stir this around and cook it for about an additional minute. And then you want to slowly start adding in your milk, just a little bit at a time. Keep stirring this so that way you don't get any lumps. This is basically the same way that you make gravy. And it's actually easier to use a whisk, so I'm going to switch out and use a whisk for this. That will almost guarantee that you don't have lumps in this. But just keep adding in the milk a little bit at a time, and towards the end you can go ahead and add the rest of the milk all at once, and then you want to bring this up to a boil over medium-high heat, stirring constantly. And while we're waiting for that to come up to a boil, you want to add in your salt. I'm using a teaspoon of salt. You can use half a teaspoon if you want to, and you also want to add in some black pepper, pretty much to taste. Now once this comes up to a boil, you can go ahead and turn off your heat and add in your cheese. Now I'm using extra sharp cheddar here. You could use whatever kind is your favorite cheese. I'm also going to add in my ham. And I'm just going to stir this around and mix this up until that cheese is melted. And then we can go ahead and start assembling our au gratin. Now to assemble your au gratin, you want to take a 9-inch by 9-inch square baking dish. You could also use an 8x8. If you want to use a 9x13, you could double the recipe and fit it all in a 9x13, that's fine. I'm going to add in about 1/4 or so of the sauce into the bottom of my pan, and this will prevent the potatoes from sticking to the bottom of your pan. And then you want to take your potato slices that have been thoroughly drained, and you want to layer an even layer of potatoes all the way across. Now you want to use about a third of your potatoes, so there's actually going to be about 2 layers here of potatoes. Don't worry about it, it's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you use roughly about a third of the potatoes. Then you want to pour about another quarter of your sauce over top and spread that out. And you're going to keep doing these layers 3 times. So you'll have a quarter of the sauce, then do a layer of potatoes, quarter sauce, a third of the potatoes, quarter sauce, third of the potatoes, and so on. And when you get to the top, go ahead and pour out the remaining sauce over top and spread it out. Make sure that you get all of those potatoes covered. Give the pan a little shake just to make sure that there's no air bubbles in there. And then you want to bake this in a preheated 350-degree Fahrenheit oven, uncovered, for 35 to 40 minutes. And when it is done, this is what it will look like. Now go ahead and let this set up for about 15-20 minutes before you cut into it. That'll allow the sauce to thicken up quite a bit. But there you go. That is how easy it is to make homemade au gratin potatoes at home from scratch. Forget the box stuff this Thanksgiving and go ahead and try this from scratch. You will not regret it, trust me. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. I've got a few more Thanksgiving sides ideas coming up before the holiday, so be sure to subscribe so you can see those videos. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.